Hey guys, today I'm working on this 2001 Mustang and I'll be installing an aftermarket coilover suspension. So let's get started. For this video I've teamed up with Flashark Racing and they sent me one of their premium coilover kits for the Mustang. This kit is designed to lower the ride height and allow for up to 2 inches of adjustability. The front struts have an adjustable camber plate and pillow ball, and the ride height is adjustable by rotating the lower mount. For the rear, there's an adjustable lowering spring setup with an adjustable sleeve and separate spring and shocks. Height is adjustable by spinning the rings on the sleeve and locking them in place. I'm using a small magnet to see what parts of the kit are made of steel and which may be aluminum. It seems that the majority of the components like the springs, mounts, shafts, and tubes are in fact steel or similar material, and the welding looks adequate. The rear adjustable sleeve and locking rings are aluminum or similar non-ferrous material. Well, let's get it installed. Starting on the front of the car, I removed the brake caliper using a 12mm socket so we don't damage the brake lines when lowering the knuckle. I use a piece of wire to tie the caliper to the frame so it doesn't fall. Next, I unbolt both sway bar links. Using a 15mm socket, I remove the nut, washer, and upper bushing so I can swing the sway bar out of the way later. Then I move on to the tie rod and remove the cotter pin with a pair of pliers. Then remove the nut from the end joint with an 11/16 socket. Finally, I use a ball joint separator to release the tie rod end and swing it out of the way. Now I'm going to unbolt the ABS sensor bracket. It's attached to the lower strut bolts with one nut, which takes a 24mm socket. Once the bracket is removed, I pull the sensor wire off the frame bracket so we have extra slack for the knuckle to drop down and not have to remove the sensor completely. Next, it's time to remove the lower strut bolts to release the knuckle from the strut. But I'm just going to stop here a minute and share something I learned while doing this install. It is important at this point to support the lower control arm with a jack or block of wood, because once the bolts are removed, the spring tension and weight of the knuckle will cause the lower arm to drop down quickly. This was my first time removing a McPherson strut with a separate spring, so I wasn't expecting everything to still be under tension. So as you'll see in the video, I was lucky that the rust and friction was enough to hold the arm in place while it was working in that area. So for now, imagine that I have the lower arm supported, and I'm going to remove the two lower strut bolts with a 24mm wrench and 22mm socket. It's important to be careful when removing the bolts because of the tension on them. Keep your fingers clear and use a punch or pry bar to knock the bolts out of the holes. I just threaded the bolts out fully and luckily everything still stayed together. Next, I removed the 3 nuts at the top of the strut to release it. This is when the knuckle below finally released unexpectedly. You can see the surprise when I looked back and saw the lower arm had dropped. So now I can pull the old strut out and set it aside. With the lower arm completely extended, I can now pry the factory spring out of the perch. There is very little tension left in there, but there is a rubber retainer at the bottom you have to overcome to get it out. While I was here, I noticed the lower ball joint boot was deteriorating, so I figured it would be a good time to change those out as well. First, I tie a piece of wire to the frame so I can hang the knuckle up once I release it from the lower arm. Then I remove the ball joint nut using a 24mm impact socket. I hammer the side of the knuckle where the ball joint is, and since I'm replacing it and not worried about damaging the threads, a few extra taps on the head of the stud as well, and it breaks free. I then hang the knuckle up on the wire from before so I can focus on removing the ball joint. I set up my ball joint press using the correct size dies for this size ball joint, and then using my impact gun force out the ball joint. I'm wearing a face shield just in case something goes flying my way. I then clean up the area a little and slide the new ball joint in. Then I use the press once again to press it into place. Now I can untie the knuckle and place it back on the ball joint and bolt it down. If I notice the ball joint spinning as I tighten it, I like to pulse the trigger on my impact and give the knuckle a few cracks with a hammer to help the taper seat better. I then torque the ball joint to 129 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to jump on the passenger side and begin the disassembly. I remove the brake caliper and pads, free up the ABS sensor wire, unbolt the tie rod, and remove the ABS sensor bracket. Then I place some blocks below the lower control arm to prepare to support it, as I mentioned before, to remove the lower strut bolts. I then loosen the lower strut bolts and remove the nuts. Then I place a small jack under the control arm to remove the tension on the bolts, then pop them out with a small punch. With their bolts removed, I slowly lower the jack and let the control arm come down safely. Now I can remove the 3 nuts from the top of the strut and remove it from the car. I'm going to change this ball joint as well, so once again I unbolt the knuckle and hang it out of the way. I then remove the ball joint, install the new one, and remove the factory spring. I then bolt the knuckle back to the lower control arm, and we're ready to install the new front suspension. So here we have the factory strut alongside the new Flashark coilover. We can see the top has 3 studs to attach to the car and an adjustable camber plate and ball joint on the top. I'm just going to take some measurements and try to set the strut close to factory height to start, then I can lower it more if I need to. These coilovers are raised and lowered by spinning the bottom end where the mount bracket is, then locked in place with the locking ring. Now on the top, you'll notice that the 4 bolts don't quite fit into the top plate of the strut tower, so we're going to have to move those around using the other holes to see if we can get them to clear. In the end, I had to remove 2 bolts and just use the 2 center ones to get enough clearance to fit. Now let's go put these in. So I'm going to slide the coilover up into the strut tower and thread the nuts on to hold it in place. Snug them up, and then torque them to 46 foot-pounds. Now we need to lift the lower control arm and knuckle and slide the knuckle into the lower strut bracket. I use a small punch in one of the holes to hold it temporarily and help me line up the other hole to get a bolt in. Then I tighten the lower strut bolts and torque them to 158 foot-pounds. Now I can reconnect the ABS bracket, clip the cable back up, and tighten the bracket nut. And finally, I reconnect the tie rod, torque it to 59 foot-pounds, and install a cotter pin. Now I put the brake clips and pads back in, retract the pistons, and reinstall the caliper. Well, that's the driver's side done. Let's start the passenger side. Once again, I carefully slide the coilover into the strut tower and screw the nuts on finger tight, then torque them to 46 foot-pounds. Then I lift the knuckle into place and insert 2 bolts, then torque them to 158 foot-pounds and reattach the ABS cable bracket. Next, I reattach the tie rod, torque it to 59 foot-pounds, and install the cotter pin. Finally, I reinstall the brakes, and that's it for the front end. So the rear is going to be a little bit less work. I start by loosening the lower shock bolts and removing the nut on both sides. Then I put some blocks under the axle to take some weight off the bolts by lowering the car. You could also use a jack to raise the axle if you're doing this on the ground. I can then remove the bolts, then allow the axle to drop to remove the spring from the driver's side. Then from the passenger side. Here I have the factory spring and the Flashark lowering spring side by side. I need to transfer the rubber isolator from the old spring to the new one, and use a little electrical tape to hold it in place while I install the spring. I adjust the spring sleeve all the way to the top and compare the spring heights. It's obvious the Flashark spring is going to sit lower, but I'm hoping not too much. I lock the sleeve adjusting rings and prepare to install the springs. I set the new springs on the axle perches. These go in much easier because they're shorter than the factory ones. I use a small block of wood to hold them straight until I can raise the axle back up. Now to remove the stock shocks, I need to climb into the back seat to access the upper nuts. In the convertible, they're located behind the seats under these black covers. So way down next to the wheel well, we can see the upper shock nut and bushing. With those removed, the shock comes right out. And then so does the passenger side. Now back on the bench, I line up the old shocks with the new ones and adjust the new ones to a similar height and lock the adjusting rings. I slide the first shock up into the wheel well and use a small block of wood to hold it there while I tighten the top nut, torquing it to 30 foot-pounds. Then I do the other side. Now I'm ready to raise the axle using a block of wood to keep the spring straight while it begins to compress. I jack the axle up high enough to align the first lower shock hole and put the first bolt in, then the one on the other side. Then tighten the lower shock bolts, torquing them to 85 foot-pounds. And with that, the suspension is installed. Now I'm going to throw the wheels back on and lower the car to see how it sits and if I need to make any adjustments. So it looks like the rear is sitting much lower than the front, even though I have the sleeves adjusted to the highest position. So I'm going to lower the front a little more to even it out. To do this, I'm going to remove the front wheels, then support the front control arms, while I unbolt the knuckles again by removing the two lower strut bolts. With the knuckle pulled free from the strut, I unlock the adjusting lock ring. And spin the lower portion of the strut upward approximately half an inch, then snug the lock ring up against it. I lift the knuckle back into the lower strut bracket, reinstall the bolts, secure the lock ring, retorque the bolts to 158 foot-pounds, then reattach the ABS sensor bracket. Now I do everything again on the passenger side. I put the wheels back on and lower the car once again to check the ride height. This seems to be much better, so I torque all the wheels and head out for a test drive. So first impressions are quite typical to what I'd expect from a car that's been lowered. The suspension is stiffer, so there's less body roll when cornering, which makes the car feel like it's on rails in the corners. You definitely feel the bumps more, especially in the rear of the car where the standard lowering springs just don't have enough travel for bigger bumps, and that energy has to go somewhere. The front though, even with less travel than before, feels pretty good with the full coilover setup. I think both the front and rear could do with a little more dampening on the shocks, but it isn't too bad for a budget setup. I'd say this set is geared more towards the younger crowd, as old bones will still feel some of the bigger bumps the next morning. If I had the choice, I would have opted for a taller rear spring, or even a full coilover in the rear as well, so the ride could match the front even more. Because I like fair comparisons, I drove the same route with the stock suspension, then again with the Flashark coilovers, and used a data logger to measure how smooth the ride was. We can see overall that the two suspensions were similar for the bulk of the drive, but that the Flashark really hit much harder on a few of the bigger bumps. It did, however, smooth out some of the smaller ripples, which doesn't surprise me, as the stock suspension was nearly 25 years old. So for now, this coilover suspension will be staying on the car, and we'll see how it does long term. I believe this kit is a good low budget option for someone who wants to lower their car pretty significantly, as the minimum drop is around 2 to 3 inches, and is willing to sacrifice a bit of comfort in the name of style. There is no doubt 20-year-old me would have been all over this kit years ago. If you're interested in getting your own coilover kit or any other products from Flashark, click the link in the description or visit flasharkracing.com. Don't forget to use coupon code NHBH to save 15% off your order. Well, that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.